Happy Friday, Rock Creek Fellowship. Happy to see you all today on a day when I'm thinking about the words of Mary Carr, who said that we live in a universe full of loud pigs and shot things that you have to take whiffs of while you're walking around. That may seem a fairly bleak assessment of the environs in which we take our breath and steps. But every now and again, true as it may be, there are little respites, and I'm just coming off of a week that you all have afforded me through our sessions, generosity, and yours, to be with some pastor friends. We've been meeting for 10 years together, and we've just spent a week together sharing life, talking about our lives as pastors and husbands and fathers, and laughing hysterically, and eating and sharing hard things as well. So the whiffs that we've taken are not all of shot things that are putrescent to us, but they're also fairly fragrant on this sunny Friday. Speaking of, there's a joke that you may have heard when we think of laughter, that a dog says, "He loves me, he cares for me, he feeds me, he pets me, he looks after me, he must be God." The cat, of course, says just the opposite. "He feeds me, he cares for me, he pets me, I must be God." It's a funny joke meant to be derisive towards the unending and ceaseless arrogance of cats, which are the one feature of God's created order that he says, "My bad," that and kale. But aside from the joke of it, it's an interesting thing to think about on this Friday, that love itself has to do with service. One of the ways we think of God's care for us is that he does things for us. The psalmist says, "I love the Lord because he answered my prayer." Because he answered my prayer, I'll call on him as long as I live. We look back to the sacrifice that righted the world, through which the healing of the world and we ourselves comes into full fruition, because Jesus did something for us. And it's worth thinking about in your marriages, in your roommate situations, and at work, that love is not only construed, as you might see in a Jennifer Aniston movie, as something that happens to you, a virus that moves you, that makes your heart flutter. That's an aspect of it for sure, but one of the aspects in the Bible over and over and over again ad nauseum, says one Jewish scholar named John Levinson, is the idea of instrumental help. Action-oriented, outward-faced, and practical service to those that we love. Do you let it count in your life when someone's thinking of you and they do the dishes for you, or they wash your clothes, they hold the door for you, or they anticipate a need you might have and decide to go ahead and meet it for you? Do any of those things count in your life? It's worth thinking about. Mike Mason has said one of the problems with love and marriage, and I think you could say in all relationships, is not that it's too amorphous, but it takes the form of particular commandments. It gets way too specific for us. Do not run your power drill while your wife is trying to take a nap. Do not leave your clothes on the floor when this drives your spouse crazy. There are all kinds of specific commands that love takes, that take the form of practical kinds of service, instrumental forms of help that we give to each other. So let's think about that in the ways that we can practically serve our wives, our husbands, our roommates, our parents, our kids, our employees, our Lord. We serve him when we serve his people. It's worth thinking about today. Take care.